Hello, everyone. This is another Freedom to Feel conversation, and my guest today is Anastasia Lindsey. She's a poet, author, creator, holistic healer, photographer, singer, artist, and a speaker, of course, by being here. She wrote the beautiful poetry book titled Ocean. And I love the way it's spaced out too, like the letters. For some reason, I can see the word more clearly. And
Yeah.
clarity, it's really a part of the healing path, isn't it? Or
Yeah.
spiritual path as well. So it's a beautiful representation of that in so many ways, healing and spirituality. Thank you so much for what you do. And I'll probably be thanking you throughout the conversation. But this is my brief introduction to you. The full bio will be at the end. A question that I always begin my conversations with is the fundamental question about who we are. So, in your own words, who is Anastasia in this moment?
In this moment, I love
Yeah.
that question because if you think about humanity altogether, it's always changing, right?
Right.
We are changing as people. The world is changing. Just 10 years ago, things aren't the same as they are, So in this moment, I am a peacemaker. But I always say that I will forever be a peacemaker, no matter what title I have, whether it's an author, a poet, holistic healing, singer. I will always bring peace to whatever I'm doing. Every word that leaves my mouth, I want it to embody peace and calmness. So in this moment, I would say that I am a peacemaker.
Ah, wow. I see that you are speaking of being a peacemaker at different levels. They are levels, right?
Yeah.
So, talk to me for a moment about that. What is your idea of peace? What is peace to you?
So I have experienced life where I did not feel at peace, where my nervous system was disrupted. I also see other people that live outside of peace.
Yeah.
And so that can range from being angry all of the time, or not feeling like you love yourself, or feeling really hard to connect with the world, with people around you, and just feeling like, when will things get better? So that means you're not living a life of peace. So I make it an effort to bring peace, whether it's in the workplace, the drive-through when I'm picking up lunch quickly, or when I write my poems. I want to make sure that I bring peace. Like, that is my purpose
Mm.
here on earth. I can say it's many things like writing and poetry, but really if I go just a level deeper, what is the main driving force? Peace. And I think it can be as simple as smiling or saying hello, going out of your way to make someone's day, especially if you see that they are living a disrupted life. Little things can go a really long way.
That's true. So, how do we navigate the realms of body mind when it comes to still being here now, knowing that we are complete, but at the same time, kind of improving the journey of body mind? How do
Yeah.
we make peace with that?
I think one of the things that I love to tell people is that, well, a lot of questions that come to me, it's like, how do I obtain peace? How
Yeah.
I want to be a peaceful person. How do I do that? And for me, it really boils down to take the most simplest thing that you can do in your life, whether that's walking outside or if you're inside, look out the window. I try to teach really simple things that show people that they can, and then from there they can elevate. So go outside and see the world changing around you. Watch as the leaves change colors, and know that as those green leaves turn red, so can you. You can change just like the leaves. And I really love to speak in metaphors. That really helps the mind, like
Right.
make a visual picture. But I think people think they need like a eat, pray, love moment to have like a really drastic change in life, when sometimes that's just not obtainable. No one can just fly to a different country and find peace all of a sudden. But you can if you step outside of your front door, or if you greet yourself with compassion in the morning and know that the emotions that you feel, they're going to come and go.
Right.
Everything comes and goes. It's always a circle. We're always evolving and moving. So know that the place that you are in now is not permanent. It's never going to last. You're not going to spend the next 20 years here. And so I feel like that kind of gives people reassurance that, okay, I may be here right now, but I'm not stuck. You are never, ever stuck.
Right.
Yeah.
So, how did you become a poet, and how did you
Yeah.
start, yeah, writing? And then also, I would love to know the main intention for writing the book Ocean.
Okay. I love all
Yes.
these questions. So, when I found out that I was a poet, I did not know I was a poet. And so it was an English assignment in grade school, maybe fourth or fifth grade. And I had read poetry before, but just very, very simple poetry. And we had to write a poem and turn it in at the end of class. And so I did that, and she pulled me aside the next day and she said, I think you're a natural born poet. The poem that you turned into me is exceptionally beautiful. And so just imagine being a young girl trying to figure out your place in the world, and, you know, hearing that from a teacher really put movement into me, because I'm like, wow, something that I wrote created movement for my teacher who I looked up to. And so from there, I just started writing poems about everything: anniversaries, birthdays. I looked forward to writing poetry.
Hmm.
And it wasn't until high school when I started using it as an outlet. You know, we all go through things in our teenage years. We experience our first heartbreak, or when we lose a friend, we're no longer friends. And for me, I'm such a sensitive person. It doesn't take much for me to start crying. I knew that with all of these emotions, I needed to do something. And I resorted to what I knew, and that was poetry. And when I first wrote a poem that was more of a release, I was like, wow, I could actually do this. Like, this actually feels really good. And that was really
Hmm.
healing for me, that first moment when I wrote that very first poem after a heartbreak. I just took everything that was going in my mind and my heart, and I told my paper all about it. And I was no longer holding on to it. I mean,
Right.
the pain was still there, but it wasn't as intense. And so I knew that when I started writing Ocean, that there were people out there who didn't know how to process their emotions, who felt very alone, because when we go through traumatic experiences, it can feel very isolating. And we don't know who to talk to or how to even explain what we're going through. So I knew that I wanted Ocean to be there for people, no matter where you were in the world, no matter what pain you were experiencing. I wrote Ocean with the intention of helping other people. And in turn, it helped heal me too as I
Mm.
began to write my story through poetry.
Mm. What helps you when it comes to, accessing the wholeness again, that connectedness to it all? What is that helps you? I'm curious.
It helps me to know that we're all different. We all look different. We talk different. And we come from different backgrounds. But at the end of the day, we're all here experiencing what it means to be human. And so
Right.
sometimes it can feel really disconnecting because you feel like you're the only one going through whatever it is you may be going through. But you know that in the world, someone else is too. Like, we're all experiencing our own different types of trauma and pain. And it
Right.
brings you back to that oneness. Like, we're all connected in some way. You know, you see videos on Facebook and social media, and it's like, how did we all have the same experience? It's because we're one. And so it helps you not feel alone, even when you feel like you're just a little drop in the ocean. Know that within the ocean are many other drops of people too, and we're all riding these waves, and so it doesn't have to be so isolating and alone and scary. We just have to learn how to lean on one another. And then that's how I kind of started my journey to vulnerability, speaking my truth, and just really being honest about where it is I am in life and what I'm struggling with. And then you kind of reach out to people and they're like, I'm kind of there too. I haven't really
Mm.
been doing the best. And
Right.
it's something that you may not have known about that person.
Right. The theme in your book that caught my attention too, it reminded me of grief, like losing somebody or losing something. It feels to me like it's one of those experiences that is traumatic. It's not just traumatic, but it lasts almost. It feels like it never ends. It's always there. So, right, that pain,
Yeah.
it's still present. So, talk to me for a moment
Yeah.
about that. I don't have the experience because I never lost anybody that close to me. So I can only imagine. And my husband lost his sister. So and he's very close to me. So
Mhm.
of course I feel his pain. And it's so deep that I
Yeah.
can't really, of course, I can only imagine and kind of be empathetic, but I don't really know. So talk to me from your perspective.
Yeah. Grief is a subject that I love to talk about, even if it's still painful. I actually just lost my grandfather in March of this year. And the tricky thing about his loss, so I've lost people before, really important people, but when I lost him in March, I felt like I lost multiple people. He was my grandfather, he was my dad, like that's who I called on
Yeah,
Father's Day. So I lost multiple people, and then I was having to grieve. It felt like I had lost multiple people. And I learned a lot about grief. It's just love at the end of the day. And I love this quote, and I wish I knew who it was by, but they say, because I know love, I know grief. And it's just so powerful. It sums it up for me. And I was able to think, wow, I really loved my grandfather, and he really loved me. And we have that shared experience together. And so I will grieve for the rest of my life because I will always love him. And so I think when people grieve, they think that they have to get rid of it, but you won't. If you loved that person, the love doesn't go away, and neither will the grief, but you learn how to kind of approach it. It won't always take over your whole mind
right,
and body and soul. It won't always feel heavy. It's just their presence has transformed in a different way. And they're still very much here with you. They're still here watching everything that you do. So, grief at the end of the day is just love, even if you lose people who are still living. So, a lot of my poems in my book, I talk about the grief of heartbreak because they were once so active and present in your life and now they're gone. That's still grief too. And it's still love because of that connection that you had formed with that
right.
person. So, just see it from the lens of love, and you just know that over time it will get softer, it will get gentler. It won't always feel like a pain in your heart.
Right. One of the things about death that came to me when losing people that I was not really connected with again, that close, but I
Yeah.
felt this a deeper urge, almost like to not waste time here.
Oh, yes, that's a big one.
That came to me as a message
Whew.
immediately, like, don't
Yes.
waste your time.
I think that's a big, big, important lesson. It's huge. More than any lesson I think that anybody could learn in life,
Right.
I hope it's that, is that we don't know how much time we have, whether it's 3 days or 30 years. Like, we really have to, and it's such a cliche saying when I say this,
Right.
you only live once, but you only live once in this experience right now. So make sure that you do the best that you can just to live the best that you absolutely can. We don't know when our time is up or our loved ones, but it's nothing to be afraid about if you are being intentional with every single day that you wake up. And it doesn't have to be big things because I love to live for simplicity, but make sure you always tell the people that you love them,
Yeah.
tell them hello, say sorry. Sometimes it does take us being the bigger person because that may be hard, but what's going to be harder is the regret that you feel later, wishing that you could have said sorry. Or I wish I would have spent more time, like spend time. I learned that with my grief. I was, going to all of these author events and growing my business, that I didn't really spend a lot of time with my grandpa in his final days. And when I look back, I would give all of that away just to go sit at his house and be with him. So if you learn anything from my stories, just to be really intentional with your time. And we're humans, we're not perfect. But if you always have that in the back of your head, like, I need to be intentional with today, let that be your mantra for when you wake up. I am going to be intentional with today. And make sure that that replays in your head so that way when you encounter your loved ones, you say, I love you before you
Mm,
leave. You give them one tight hug, and just let that be something that resonates with you every single day, is that we don't know how much time we have left, but the time that I do have, I'm going to make the most of it.
right. I really wanted to get closer and closer and more established in truth. But at the same
Yeah.
time, there's the devotion for the human experience as God itself. I wonder all the time, what would that look like, for us to become God and goddesses. Finally, in the
Yeah.
sense of the embodiment of what we already are, not something
Right.
else that's out there, but you already are that. So I
Yeah.
wonder what that would look like. And I guess it's one of the questions that I often ask here on the podcast to spiritual teachers and people like
Yeah.
yourself. I would love to know too. So, what would you say to that question? How would you answer that question?
I think everything that we know about the human experience will no longer
Mm,
exist. It will just be almost like a part of your past that you can still access, but there's no hatred, there's no evil, there's no hard feelings attached to it, and it's just there, part of your existence. But everything that you know about the human existence is just completely changed. Like, you can look at it, you can reference it. It could be like a dictionary where you go back through your chapters
mm,
and you just see how you lived your life and reflect. I think it's a great opportunity for reflection at the end of the day. And I think there are no English words that could compare to what that
mm.
experience will
Yeah,
finally be
right.
like. It just transcends beyond everything that our human minds can comprehend. And it's absolutely beautiful. And then you can still see at the end of the day, like, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And then you feel peace. There's your calm. That's what I feel.
Yes, yeah, and we
Yeah.
and we can achieve that, or we can realize that here now, right, Anastasia? It's
Yeah.
not something that's even in the future. That's something that can be realized here. And that I'm a
Absolutely.
student of Advaita Vedanta, which is a non-dualist system. It's a
Hmm.
Hindu spiritual knowledge kind of system that's very scientific. So
Yeah.
I'm always exercising, practicing through contemplation and reflection every day,
Every day.
trying to see beyond what I see, the eye see. And it has
Yeah.
been amazing. So, yeah, I love what you said about the story. That's what in Advaita, I remember some of the monks, they say that. Somebody said that. In the end, that's what you see. It was just a story.
Just a story. Yeah. I love that.
How interesting to see our lives as a story. And, a lot of people talk about that actually. Writing
Yeah.
your own story, rewriting your story, and all that. So it's like watching
Yes.
our own movie, isn't it?
Yeah. And knowing that whatever happened in previous chapters, you have the ability every day you wake up to start a new chapter or a new
Yeah.
page. That's more simpler. We don't have to jump into a completely new chapter, but even a new paragraph. So something that happened seconds ago, we can begin to rewrite,
Yes.
right now. Whatever happened this morning, let go of that. We're going to rewrite what our evening's going to look like. And I just love that idea that it can be that simple. We don't have to let go of what we think might be or anything, because we're just writing our experience as we go. And that's very powerful for people to know. It gives them a sense of, I can do this. I'm okay. What happened to me, that's not important anymore. But what's important is what I write going forward.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And because we are creators, right? So that's interesting. I just interviewed somebody who said that. He said, I can prove that we are God having a human experience. And then he said that because God, it's seen as it symbolizes creativity, being the creator. So, and we all have that ability to
Yeah,
recreate,
me
to
too.
create, to undo things, do, undo. So that just makes so much sense, and that we have that power, that superpower.
Yeah, that's something we're celebrating. You have that superpower. Anyone that's listening or watching right now, you have that superpower within you.
And that's why perhaps I have these conversations here too. So, people who come across these conversations, they can start reflect about these things. Because some
Yeah,
people that actually they don't know, and they sometimes they
right.
live their entire life. I know people that they're 87, they're very old, and they still telling the same stories. They're
Yeah,
living, reliving the same things over and over again.
yes.
And that's sad to see, but and I think I don't know if young people, hopefully, Anastasia, young people like you, yeah, I love that you found that path. That's a very deep one,
Yeah,
and you see, it has nothing to do with the age of the body, right? It's something else. It just transcends everything when we get to have access to that knowledge, or maybe it came with us. Who knows?
I think it came with me and it might come with a lot of us. We
Right,
just forget along the way, but we're on the path to remembering. So I've been on this journey of to this depth, to this extreme for the past 6 years now. So before that, I was just kind of lost. I was a lost soul trying to find my way to remembering. And now that I remember, I can help others remember as well. So, or learn if you feel like I don't know where to start. Here's simple ways to start because I want everyone to know that that is a possibility for them. No matter where you are or what resources you have, it's something that you can grab within yourself to make that change.
right. It's already
Yeah,
here. Right. Yes,
it's
I
already
love what you
there.
said. Yeah, it's that has been said before too. Of course, remembering. So we are just kind of remember what we are, even
Yeah.
beyond who we are. I agree.
Yes.
So going back to your beautiful book, Ocean. I mean, I love the color too. Of course, the color of the ocean blue, and the way it's spaced out. I have to say that again. Who had that idea? You had the idea,
That was me. Yeah, it came to me during a guided meditation. I had no creative vision for what I wanted it to look like, and so I was just meditating, and there it came to me, and I had to run with it.
right? So it's
Yeah,
intuition, it's just listening, isn't it? Being quiet
just
enough
listening.
to listen.
Yeah.
So that really resonated with me from the get go. Looking at the word ocean in the way it is written, it just spelled clarity to me. Oh,
Yeah.
clarity.
I love it because I knew I wanted the poems in my book can be a little bit deep and sometimes
Right.
people aren't ready to access that yet, but as long as they close the cover of my book and return to the title, I wanted that to be really intentional to bring them peace and calmness if maybe something was overwhelming or they weren't sure how to process their emotions, that they had a place of calm to return to, so clarity.
Yeah.
So I love that you said that.
Yeah. I came from New York to my husband and I, we drove from New York to Florida. And then I remember that it was a very tiresome journey because we didn't stop to really sleep anywhere. But then he would stop in this place called rest area. I would see that the signs that said rest area, and then I never forgotten that because the body would immediately relax too. Oh, I'm going to be able. Has been very hard, so now I'll be able to relax for a moment.
Yeah.
So you did that in your book. You have the pages titled the lighthouse. So that felt exactly like that for me. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this long journey.
I love that. Yes. That was my whole intention, just to I mean, if you even think about a lighthouse, what
Right.
is its main purpose, you know? It's to be that place of rescue, support, help, whatever that may look like for each person. So, I had to tie that reference with the ocean and I love that. Yeah, it's just to provide rest and help and support in times where you feel overwhelmed or tired or exhausted or you just need a breather.
Yeah. I love the part of drinking water too. That was insightful. That
Yeah.
was very compassionate and kind. You say, drink water and continue to read. So you always say that. So
Yes.
that's kind of, it's self compassion, self kindness, and being kind to yourself throughout the
Yeah.
journey again.
I've always been that intentional person, and very simple. It always goes back to simplicity. It's like sometimes a break is just making sure to remember to
Right,
drink your water or remembering to breathe. Sometimes we're all so rushed in this chaotic world, sometimes that we oftentimes don't even think that we're breathing, or we forget to breathe or take a breath or take a sip of water. So I love being intentional with everything that I do and being simple, knowing that people, you just have to drink your water. I love being intentional with the things that I bring to others in the world. Very simple, mindful
right.
exercises that don't require any work at all.
To me, love has very much to do with connecting with whatever it is in a meaningful, spiritual way, in a loving
Yeah,
way, so kind way, respectful way. So I just treasure relationships of all kinds, and it
yeah,
has been very challenging, the romantic relationships, because they are not always easy, right, Anastasia?
right.
And then you have to just wonder why. Like, I just value so much this connecting, being honest, and being present with people. But sometimes they are not ready, like you said about, even reading your book, not everyone's ready to, right,
Yes.
for healing.
Yeah, they're not ready, or maybe they are, but there's some fear around starting, which is normal too. Like, you know that this is a journey that you need to take, but you're afraid of what
Right.
it might bring. So you stop yourself from being ready or taking the next step. So I've seen that too.
Yeah, fear sets
Yeah.
in. What is your,
Yeah.
I would say, message when it comes to fear? Because that's a big one, right? We all have them around here hanging somewhere. They come to visit from time to time. So, what is your, I would say, the most simple advice when it comes to managing fear?
Yeah, one of the questions I ask myself is my fear trying to keep me safe right now, or is it trying to keep me
Mm,
small? And what
mm,
I mean by that is I know better than to jump off of a tall building without any type of, connections, or that is my fear keeping me safe. Because of that fear, I know that I don't want to just go jump because I don't know how I'm going to land. I have no parachute. So that's my fear keeping me safe. But if I know that I'm kind of scared to maybe take this new job or say yes to this new relationship, is that keeping me safe, or is it just keeping me complacent and comfortable? And so that's a simple question I ask myself. And it goes back to, if you get a this is keeping me safe, then maybe it's something worth reviewing. What is it keeping you safe from? And just try to ask yourself simple questions, like jumping off of a building. It's keeping me safe from, I don't know what, falling and not
right,
making it, but saying yes to new jobs and new opportunities. We're afraid of the unknown sometimes, and that can be scary. But unknown territories bring really beautiful stories. They bring new beautiful people into your lives, and so that's a simple thing you can do, is just ask yourself, like, am I keeping myself safe, or am I just keeping myself small? Am I staying comfortable? Am I sticking to what I know? And usually that's the case for me. I love being comfortable. I think we all do, but I have said yes to opportunities that really did scare me, because I was like, I don't want to stay small anymore. I want new opportunities. I want to meet new people. And actually, before my book came out, I never did
oh
podcast
wow.
interviews. That was just something that brought me
Yeah,
so much fear. Seeing my raw, unfiltered face and voice on the screen terrified me. And I asked myself, am I keeping myself safe, or am I keeping myself small? And I was keeping myself small because I was unfamiliar with that process. So that to me has been very, very helpful with, navigating fear.
right.
Yeah.
So deep waters, the theme, that's the first theme in your book. And one of the things I have here, the lines that caught my attention, that resonated for some reason. I just
Okay.
stopped and I stayed there for a while. I
Yeah.
want to kind of, the mind just, I lost track of time. That's how I know, like that
Okay.
I'm just
Oh,
into something, this
yeah.
whole body mind complex. So when you say, I see a flower that has lost all its petals, a wanderer on rigid seas, soul searching. For some reason, this really caught my attention, kind of stopped me. In that night, of course, and I tried to analyze and, and have the first is like, what's the meaning of that, which is more like the male energy, and then the feeling, how the more the feminine, and how what am I feeling about this? And the feeling was compassion for unnecessary suffering. So that's
Yeah.
one that came to me immediately as
That's
the answer.
beautiful.
So talk to me for a moment about that. I know that's it's just a small part of that the deep waters, but
Yeah.
what? Yeah, yeah. Talk to me about that line specifically, or more, of course.
Specifically, yeah, with the flower that lost its petals, we admire flowers, roses, we love rose
Yes.
petals. We view flowers as a whole with the stem, the body, and the flowers and the petals. So I felt in those moments of insecurity that I was a flower that had no petals. Because would anyone stop and view that flower without petals? Would it even be labeled a flower if it didn't have its petals? And it's just that ultimate low that I felt. Like I remember feeling very low, and I said, how can I transform that into a visual picture? And it's feeling like a flower that's lost its petals. Like, who
Mm,
am I now? What am I doing? Am I still beautiful? Am I still worthy? And that's really kind of where I wanted to go with that, and then feeling like I'm on rigid seas. I've been deep sea fishing before, and those waves are just so intense. That's what it felt like, just wave after wave. My stomach was like turning, and it just felt very uncomfortable. And I'm on this journey to finding my soul, to finding myself. And it was really rocky, and I was so unsure all the time. So instead of just saying that, I knew I had to find deeper ways to put that into words.
mm. I mean, I'm just talking now about something else that I have understood deeply too. This life as a dream like reality. So everything dances and it feels like and looks so beautiful and colorful, but we know it's passing. So it's
Yeah.
really in the end, nothing really is there, but it is at the same time. So it's if we can if we can have a glimpse of that of the infinite, then unnecessary suffering would end.
Yeah, things would be able to just roll off so much easier. It would just come and go. You might like experience a quick little instance of like pain or
Oh yeah.
whatever that the case may be, and then just as quickly as it came, it went, you know?
Yes. So deep waters. This one too. This part of just caught my attention. Where you start saying, "If tomorrow starts without me."
Yeah.
So, and you tear the bed apart, searching for pieces of me as tears are falling down from your face. I mean, this will be so much better for you to read because you're the poet. You say, I love when they recite. Do you have that? Do you have the book in front of you? In that,
Yeah, I could find it quickly. Yeah, I got it. If tomorrow starts without me, and you tear the bed apart searching for pieces of me, as tears are falling from your face, and with an overbeating heart, know that I am much closer than you think. I am the branch that blows in the wind right outside of our bedroom window. I am the bird that lands on the tree of our carved initials. When you step outside and begin cursing the ground, I am the wind that sweeps across your face. I am the first star in the sky that begins to shine. That's me. I am the sun that peeks through the trees with fallen leaves.
So thank you for so beautifully writing about that, right?
Thank you.
Because you are everywhere, everywhere. Gosh, yeah. Now I'm gonna.
I'm trying
Yeah,
so
that's
hard not to
so
cry.
beautiful. Yeah, it's so beautiful. And I won't apologize for crying.
No, please do not.
Yeah, I'm so yeah. Thank you for the reminder again, so the heart can expand. You see, love is expansion, so it just understands that.
Yeah.
I try to, pass that on to my husband. He lost his sister, and it's some of us we are not ready yet, right? We still want to dance, and we we hold on to that so
We do.
tightly that sometimes the partner, our dance partner, just leaves us on the dance floor by ourselves.
Yeah. So I really feel like with reading that poem, it can help people to find that in a different way, it's still very permanent. It still is very
Mm,
forever. Even if it's even with our own eyes, the sight is of that permanence is different. We're now looking through the sight of different senses within our body and listening and hearing and seeing with the heart. There's different forms of
mm,
forever,
yeah.
and it's going to take a lot of remembering and trying to process that, because like I said, the human experience, we know one thing is that we want this to be forever. We just have to remember that forever can be many different things.
Ah, wow, I love that too. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Wow. That's another book in itself.
Yeah.
Right? For grief. Wow. Yeah, that's beautiful, Lindsay. Anastasia Lindsay. Gosh.
Thank you. No, that's okay. It happens all the time.
I love when you say also, I may have left life, but I did not leave you. Right.
Yeah. It's still a reminder for myself.
Yeah, isn't it amazing
Yeah.
how healing or spiritual work, it has this beautiful way of flowing right within the body mind. It heals here and there and everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. So you also say there, I just picked different parts because I'm not linear in any way, so I'm always like looking for anything that touches the heart, that somehow it kind of resonates energetically.
Yeah.
So you said, I healed you, although I was missing pieces of myself and still felt better. So, well, that for me, the message was being able to heal others but not yet being healed. Because a lot of people believe, some people believe that you can only be a healer if you are completely healed. And I don't
Yeah.
know how true that is.
I think it is, unfortunately. It's like the saying, you can only love yourself or love others if you love yourself. But there are people out there that help us love
Yes.
ourselves. Without other people to help us, sometimes it's unachievable, or it's harder. I would say it's not unachievable because we can do all things. But I have met people that have helped me love myself even more. So with that saying, it's like, but these people have helped me more than they probably know. And maybe after this podcast, I'll send them a message and let them know that. But I think it's true. Like sometimes we help heal people and we don't even know we're doing it either. Sometimes, we're trying our best to heal for ourselves, but in turn, we're helping someone else.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And we don't have
Yeah.
to always know. Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah.
You said somewhere in the book, you say, remember, healing is not a destination. Honor the process and journey. That's another powerful message for all of us.
Yes.
And you also said, within deep waters, you say, I hope I can find the peace that I lost with you to return to dream state, my peace state. So that, I guess, really resonated too.
Yeah. I feel like I've always been a person that has daydreamed, night dreamed, like just dreamed of the future. Like I am a very dreamy person in terms of just myself and my own thoughts. And so I got wrapped up in a situation that removed me from my dreams and my visions. And I wanted to return back to that place where I could just daydream and be who I wanted to be and think what I wanted to think. I wanted to return to that because that dream state that I always was in was my peace state. So that's kind of where I meant there.
Right. Thank you so much for your presence in our shared reality and being open to
Thank you.
life to this point of writing this beautiful book. It's truly,
I
truly
appreciate
beautiful.
it.
Thank you so much
That means
again.
a lot. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. There's one affirmation that really caught my attention in waiting.
Mhm.
Waiting is a lighthouse affirmation. Yes, I am working towards creating a better life. I no longer place limitations on myself. That starts like, I just felt like that was a beautiful affirmation that
Yeah.
resonated with me deeply.
It resonates with me every day because it is something that I use. I no longer place any limitations on myself. And if I did yesterday, I'm taking those away. They're not there anymore.
Ah. Before we say goodbye, I want to mention your website, summersolacehealing.com, and that will be on the podcast notes.
Yes.
And also, is there, besides your book, it's on Amazon, it's everywhere out there. And I'll have the link to the Amazon in your website and Amazon link. But is there any other services that you offer at this time, Anastasia?
Right now, I do custom poems. So if
Mm,
you have someone in your life that you would love a poem for, I help write vows, celebrations. If you're just looking for the right words, I want to help you craft beautiful words for that special person in your life or family member. So yeah, I really enjoy doing that. So if you're in the market and you're looking for that, I would be honored to help you.
oh, that would be amazing. And the best way to contact you would be your website.
Yeah, my website works, and then you can find me a lot on Instagram. I'm very present on
Yeah.
Instagram, and that's Anna Marie Poetry. It's ANAMARIE Poetry. So I hear from a lot of people on Instagram a lot. That's a pretty easy way to find me.
Oh, wonderful. So I will have, I just made a note here too. And I'll have in the podcast notes, I have both the website
Okay.
and your IG handle.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again for your beautiful presence. And we'll talk
Thank
soon.
you.
We'll
We
be in
will.
touch
Thank you
again.
so
Bye for
much.
now,
Bye.
Anastasia.
Thank
Bye.
you.